This place is quite interesting. On the right hand side we've got an old farmhouse. I don't know how old, 200 or 300 years old. And on the left hand side a much newer extension. I say much newer, inevitably pretty damn old itself by now. But the damp-proof courses in these buildings, and when we go around the back there's lots more bits and pieces, are quite complicated, and when you've got to write a report on it all, it's going to be quite a nuisance. What I typically report is that natural stone houses of this age tend to be built without damp-proof courses. Well, this house does have a damp-proof course. There it is, some kind of asphalt. I mean, there's lots of little gritty bits of stone in it, so I don't really know what it is in that respect, but it's obviously a bituminous physical damp-proof course located reasonably appropriately above ground level. However, as is so often the case, somebody has thought it was a good idea to go and drill a load of holes and inject chemicals, and how those are going to work in a natural stone wall I don't know. At least in this property there is a relatively continuous mortar joint they can drill into, but if they've angled their drill downwards, then they will have made several punctures in the old felt damp-proof course and potentially done more harm than good. If we go over to the old building, I mean, I don't know how old this porch is, but it has a plastic damp-proof course, so it's probably been reconstructed, the porch has. And here's the old building. Well, there is one of these sort of stone plinths around the bottom, which is vaguely suggestive of underpinning, but I won't go down that route now. But maybe that's there to protect the foot of the wall from dampness. Nevertheless, above it you can see drill holes, so somebody's done the old chemical damp-proof course thing, and in a rubble stone wall like this, I think that is pointless. There'll never be a continuous barrier to dampness through a wall like this. And if you also look where that drill hole there is compared to where the window is, quite clearly it's so far above floor level, it's an additionally pointless exercise. And if we wander around the side of the building, we then have this, a plastic damp-proof course. So how did that get in there? Has the wall been rebuilt, or has somebody gone to the trouble of sawing slots in the wall to slide it in? I mean, you can just about work out that it's, well, maybe you can't work it out. I was about to say it's in short lengths, but who knows? I mean, does that wall look like it's been rebuilt? Not obviously. Around the other end, there's the plastic damp-proof course. Not the required 150mm above ground level, but at least it's there. I mean, that window opening's been rebuilt. Going around the back, they've got two damp-proof courses, an upper and a lower. Not quite sure what the point of that is. And then back to the old drill and pump chemicals in. So that's gone in as well as the plastic damp-proof course. And what the hell that's doing in that wall, I don't know. This building here looks like a 20th century addition, and it does have some kind of felt damp-proof course in it. And then this lot is a mixture. I think we've got, I don't know, 60s extension, then probably an old building in the middle, and at the far end we've got a modern extension. So there you've got the felt damp-proof course again, extending over those bricks. And then when we get to the old part, we've got the old chemical damp-proof course gone in all over the bloody place. And then getting back to a modern extension. Don't know how old this is, 1980s maybe. And plastic damp-proof course, which takes us back round to where we started. It's all a bit of a nuisance, isn't it? Because somebody, when I say somebody, somebody's got to report all this, and if we go indoors we'll find out how successful it's all been. We are in the newer part of the property. That's the building on the left hand side in the photograph, and you can see, well, can you see? I don't know, but round about here there's a line through the plaster which indicates that there has been some replastering. So they will have knocked off the old plaster up to about 1 metre and replastered, probably sticking a load of water resistant chemicals in the plaster. The result is slightly hollow sounding plaster where they haven't renewed, and a more solid sounding stuff where they have. And over at this end you can see to an extent there's still a bit of dampness in the wall. Can you see that? There's a bit of black speckling because of mould, which could be surface moisture, but you can stick a damp meter in the wall. You've got to turn it on, they don't work if you don't turn them on. And there's still some moisture in the wall, and that's picked up elsewhere. And the plaster at the bottom looks a bit puffy, so this is a house with a physical and a chemical damp-proof course in it, and it's still a little bit damp. So it's not a panacea, is it? All this drilling bloody holes in the walls, especially as they might possibly have compromised the original damp-proof course by making a load of holes in it. This is the internal partition, and you can probably see the plaster just above the top of that chair is a bit blistered. I think what's happened here is they have given it the treatment. It's down the bottom. It seems to be dry and the plaster's hard. Still dry here. And then we come up to this blistered area, and the damp meter's getting a bit excited. So it's almost as if the chemicals they've applied to the wall have trapped the moisture in, and it's just risen further up the wall to evaporate out a bit further up. And once you get up here, it's all nice and dry again. So I mean, I suppose the dry lining's done a trick, hasn't it, really? Any moisture that's inside the wall can't get out to the dry lining side, so it's either accumulating in vast amounts or it's slowly evaporating back out of the front elevation. Over there, no plaster finish to worry about. And what's the damp meter doing in this wall? It seems to be quite happy, doesn't it? So I think any moisture that's in this wall is just evaporating out internally or externally. It's certainly a rebuilt wall. This is an old house. I mean, it's pre-Victorian. I haven't done my homework on it. I don't know how old it is, but it's probably early Georgian, is it? But in particular, I'm looking at the roof, which is a stone tile roof. Kind of difficult to tell with a stone tile roof whether it's in good condition or not, except that probably if there's no bits of stone falling off, flaking off, then probably it's in good condition. You'll note that there are little stone tiles at the top of the roof pitch, and large ones at the bottom. And this arrangement is so that you can get an even covering of tiles. If you just jumbled them all up, it'd be pretty impossible to get a nice tile covering. If it was a very old roof, they'd be fixed with oak pegs, but I doubt it is a very old roof, and they're probably being hung from copper nails or something like that. But we'll go inside the roof and have a look, and we will probably be, well, I've already been in the roof, so I know we'll be very disappointed. So let's go. Well, we are in the roof of a grade 2 listed building, and we've got here a principal rafter, and it's supporting purlins. There they are, and they're supporting a carcass of common rafters, and there's a brace through the rafters, and it's a rather splendid roof until you turn around. If you turn around and look at the other side, it's been abused. So this pitch here is where the stone tiles are, and there is a little gap between these. I've lost my little gap, but there's a little gap up there, and there's no underlay, so all those stone tiles have now been glued and fused into place by this yellow gunk. Whether that's why it was put there to try and alleviate roof leaks, but the tile covering looked quite good. But what it has done is, well, it's glued all the tiles together. It's going to make it very difficult to do repairs. It has botched up all these lovely old timbers. How you get it off I do not know, and if the whole roof had been encased in this stuff, it would be impossible to ventilate it too, so you end up with all sorts of damp and timber decay problems. Yeah, so what can I say? I mean, there is some argument, isn't there, that there's a porous version of this stuff and a less porous version, and one's better than the other. I can't remember really. Hollow cell, what is it also? I don't know what I'm talking about at this stage, so I'll shut up, but it's a bad thing. This is an old roof, quite clearly. And what are these? Are these single Romans, or are they called pan tiles? I suppose they're single Romans, not really quite curvy enough to be pan tiles. That one there, shattered, frost action, and a couple of others have gone in a similar manner. But anyway, this is a single story addition. So what this allows us to do is have a look at the felt edge of the roof, which you can't normally do with a house. I mean, you can see there it is evidently a bit weathered, and if we hoik these up, can you see anything in there? There's the felt, and it's knackered, disintegrated, and the gutter is all the way down there, so definitely receded. The batten looks quite nice, and you can see, possibly, there you can see, a tile nib, so that's just hanging quite nicely onto the batten, what it was before I lifted it up. So let's see if I can put it back properly. Now that's obviously something you can't do when you're looking at a house, well, a two-storey house. Here's something else you can't normally see. The top edge of the fascia is absolutely rotten, and you wouldn't necessarily know that from down below. There's a lovely bit of award-winning woodworm. Lovely, nice, clean drifts of frass. Very good. And there it goes, all the way up there as well. Splendid.